Well, it started out to be an awesome and exciting day yesterday. That was. And, you know, I mean, what a great day when we get to head down to Sweetgrass, Montana for the first time in several years to pick up the car parts that I've been ordering for my Cherry Red project. Sweetgrass, Montana, here we come. Getting the best stuff. Oh yeah, it's always exciting. It's going to be better than Christmas. Esther, my youngest daughter, and I jumped in the 42 Chev and we headed down. It's about 3.5 hours one way. We got to Lethbridge, everything was good. But then on the way down to Montana, suddenly you hear this roaring sound. Sounds like it's taking off like an airplane. And I'm goofing around taking video, you know, of the gauges. But I was looking at the wrong gauges. I should have been checking the transmission gauges. What is that noise? But suddenly, kaboom! Billows of smoke, just a trail of smoke behind us down the highway, and then it starts filling up inside the truck, and you don't know what you got on fire. But this isn't my first rodeo. We've been through this with this truck before. I've rebuilt the transmission, well, put a new transmission in it last time I rebuilt the truck, and I've rebuilt it once since then. And so I'm going to rebuild it once again. It's about $200 for the kit, you know, not a big deal. But there we are, stuck nearly all the way to the border. I think we're like 20 kilometers from the US border. So we're getting out and assessing everything. Man, oh man, there's oil under here like everywhere. The whole thing's, you know, of course, dripping with oil. Whatever blows, I don't know where the oil came out from yet. I'm going to find out. But whatever blows apart, when it gets too hot, you know, 250 degree oil or whatever it is, hitting the exhaust, the headers and the exhaust pipes, and it just bursts into smoke, right? And hopefully it doesn't burst into flames. So we get out, crawl underneath there, and take a look, and yeah, I mean, it's just messed up, right? So we're sitting in the truck looking for, you know, what to do next, looking for what tow company, I don't know what we're looking for. And then I'm going to jump out of the truck again and take another assessment, and I look under here, and there's fire, well, about 2 feet long, and the flames are starting to get pretty high. Of course, we didn't notice it because there's smoke everywhere anyway. So I scrambled up into the truck to find something to put the fire out with, and all I could find was this paper towel. So I kind of wrapped it around my hands and then did my best to poke it up in all these corners. I mean, everything is stinking hot, right? Poke it up in there and smother those flames. And I would say that, yeah, we just barely got it out. That's what I would say, just barely. By the time the flames had quit, I was pretty well done. And a bit burnt, but not bad. From the back of the transmission, way down there, down in here somewhere, all the way along this wiring, along the transmission, and up into, well, where all those wires are burned. In fact, it looks worse than I thought it did. It's burnt going all the way across the transmission. And then we're looking online to see how far. We're only 2 kilometers from a town, right? From Milk River. And so we think, well, we'll go there and get some transmission fluid and see what things look like. The truck would still creep ahead, you know, and so Esther looked it up on Google, and sure enough, just a couple kilometers ahead, there's a gas station there. And the truck moved okay, you know, the transmission is moving okay, but the TV cable, right, the detent cable is stuck solid, so you can't, it's a throttle body injection engine, 350 Chevy, so you can't, you know, you push on the gas and it just won't go because the transmission shift cable is holding the throttle from opening up. So that was the first part of the adventure. Then what do you do? Well, we went to Napa to get transmission fluid and some electrical tape. I was going to tape those wires up. If we could get going, separate them and put tape around them, you know. So I asked the guy at Napa, is there a mechanic in town? He says, yeah, over at the tire shop. So we limped over to the tire shop, and there's a mechanic, and I called him out of the shop, and I said, you know, see that black truck over there across the street? Yeah, with the 4-speed overdrive automatic Chev transmission from, you know, late 80s, whatever. and the detent cable won't let the throttle open. And the guy just looks at me like, I have no idea. So I said, okay, nothing's going to happen. Nothing good's going to happen here. So I asked him, is there a tow company in town? He said, yeah, over at the body shop. So we pulled over to the body shop. Now, the interesting thing about these places is that every place that we went into, the tire shop, the body shop, they all have like a little like reception area in the front of their offices. And small town, so they, like the body shop didn't have an administrator or secretary or receptionist or anything like that. The guys are all working in the back, right? But out in this little receiving area, there's a coffee table and couches and free coffee for customers. It was 10 o'clock in the morning by now, and apparently every old farmer in the country comes to one of these establishments and sits with his buddies and has free coffee for an hour. So I asked the tow truck guy, I said, how do you get any work done? Oh no, they don't bother you. He says they just come in for half an hour, have the free coffee, you know, and then they go on their way. And he points back to his shop and he says, see, there's nobody there now. The tow truck guy, he's actually the body man, and he's busy working on somebody's smashed up vehicle. And he stops to talk to me for a minute. I said, look, I need a tow or something. I mean, I don't know what to do at this point. So I'm trying to get to Sweetgrass to get my car parts. And he's like, oh, okay. And I see in the inside of his shop there's like hot rod pictures all over the place. In fact, on the outside, hanging on the wall, is a kind of a section of a Model A coupe, right? As a kind of a branding thing up high on the wall outside of his shop. You can see it when you're coming down the highway. So anyway, he says, well, I don't know about Sweetgrass. He says, because, you know, I have rental vehicles, but they're all out right now. So I took him out and showed him my truck, and he's, oh, okay, a fellow hot rod builder. He says, you're going to get hot rod parts, aren't you, at Sweetgrass? I said, yeah. He says, well, here, tell you what, I'll fill up my pickup. It's out of gas right now. I'll fill it up. He says, you take that. So nice big Chevy pickup, and off we go to Sweetgrass, me and Esther, get the hot rod parts. If you're ever in Milk River, stop in and say hi to Brad. He's a hot rod guy. And of course, we just met him today. And he loaned us his nice new Chevy pickup to continue on down to Coots, cross the border into Sweetgrass, and get our car parts, and then get back up here. It'll only take, 18 kilometers from here. And so Brad, by the time we get back up, Brad will have the 42 Chev loaded onto his car hauler, and he's going to drive us home. It's like, yeah, actually, what was it, about a $1,200 tow charge, but he's got us covered. And yeah, so thank God for guys like Brad along the way. So anyway, yeah, we're just gonna rip down here to Sweetgrass, pick up our parts from Montana Shipping. Oh, whatever the O stands for. Outfitters? I don't know.
Outlet.
You know, what is it?
Outlet.
Outlet, that's it. Actually, I burnt my hand a bit in a few places. Well, this thing really goes. Feels different than our truck. The next thing you know, you're at 120 kilometers an hour. So let's just slow her down here to 110. I don't know, maybe I should get me a truck like this. You know, something like you just get in and drive. Because I got in that 42 Chev and I'm thinking, you know what? It's like 7-hour round trip drive. How's it going to work out? And because there's usually an episode, right, of something when you're on a trip like that. Anyway, see you in Sweetgrass. And cross the border, the American guy, you know, he's just excited and that I'm getting the hot rod parts, the customs guy, immigration guy, and he's like, oh, my dream car is a 57 Chev Bel Air. I'm like, yeah, that's really rare. I hope you get one, man. And so he lets us go. We're in the USA. International travelers today, Esther.
Oh, yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. Border town. And it's like totally a border town. And then we get our parts from Montana Shipping Outlet. And then we head back to the Canadian border. I don't know, how can there be more people coming to Canada than there is going to the States?
I don't know.
It has to even out. And of course the Canadian guys, they're real grumpy, eh? I don't know why. They're always like that. Going into America, they're often friendly, and coming into Canada, they're often really like grumpy. I don't know what it is. They're so, yeah, a lot of stuff. But anyway, so Brad, the tow truck guy who owns the body shop, and he's actually like a body man probably more than anything else. He said the tow truck thing is kind of a gig on the side. He got us sorted out. You know, it was a 310 kilometer drive from Milk River back to our home here in Calgary that he was going to haul this truck, and he got it sorted out. So all in all, if I add up the actual cost of everything, I think that whole fiasco costed us $100 maybe. Anyway, well, Esther and I went down to Sweetgrass, picked up the parts. Brad got this truck loaded onto his car hauler. And so we got back there, put all of the parts in the back of the 42 Chev here, and jumped in and headed home. We were home in real good time, had time to still unpack the parts and look through them and see what we had picked up from my orders. And there's some, what was it, Redline 360. Disappointed in that company because I had ordered some stuff for the Cadillac, the CTS, and they never ever answered me except that my order was confirmed. I emailed them twice, they never answered me. I'm like, has my stuff been shipped or what? But you know what? I think the reason that we drive, what should we say, risky cars and go risky places and do stuff that, yeah, it's a little out of the box, I think it's because we always like to have a new story to tell.